Thank you very much, Alex Payne, and a very good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching. Some of you may have heard over the course of the last day or two that what we'd like to offer you for this very first game, we know we've got many people tuning into our new product here, is a bit more of an explainer as to how this oval ball game is played. So that's what I'd like to do during this morning's game, as we welcome, of course, the Miami Sun against the London Royals. So we'll do our best just to run through a few little basics for you. I've managed to have the ear of a couple of the officials, the likes of Mr. JP Doyle and our head of officials, Steve Lander. And if you're watching along, well, perhaps we can just run through a few of the basics for you. And if you're a traditional rugby fan, well, maybe it'll act as a bit of a refresher for you. And you will also perhaps be patient as we try and bring this game to more and more people across the world. So we're just waiting for the teams to assemble themselves on the sideline. It is a nice hazy day so far. We know that the conditions are going to come in and do their best to play their part. The pitch is looking immaculate, and you have to say it's all about that strip for the Miami Sun, isn't it? Plenty of inquiries about that. We've had to reassert where our big screen goes. We've just moved it down a little bit. So let's just have a little look at the teams then. The London Royals come into round two without Andrew Di Ritalo, but there is still plenty of finishing prowess in this side, who lost just one of their games in round one, that climactic last match we all enjoyed a week ago. 22-year-old Tom Emery, top point scorer with a haul of 20, including 2 of those 5-point Jeopardy kicks. AJ Davis dotting down a couple, as did David Busby. Ross Neal, a tall, strong runner from London Irish. Rich de Carpentier with a new tooth in place for this week after losing one last time out. The Miami Sun, well, they sport the best strip in the competition, as you can see. They boast internationals in the likes of Canadian DTH Van der Merwe, who scored twice in round one, Tuamo Aloha, the Utah Warriors man, and Yandre Dutoit also popping up with 2 tries apiece. USA Sevens man Marcus Satavu, the heartbeat of the side on and off the field, if the Sun's social media channels are anything to go by. We've got Scott Green, who is going to be our referee for this one. And let's start at the very beginning. 10 aside, 10s at rugby. The opportunity to come on and off the field with rolling subs. And this kickoff now needs to travel 10 metres over the dotted line. So that dotted line is the 10-metre line on the field. This kickoff has to go from there. Now, in a rugby union game, you wouldn't be taking it from the tee, but we've tweaked with things a little bit. And that is clearly going to pass the 10-metre line. So we play on as the London Royals bring the ball in. Played away from the player acting scrum half at the back of that tackle. We'll come on to a few more little bits of terminology as we settle in. Round two of the World 10 Series is up and running. Tom Emery looking to come round the corner for the Royals. Just trying to get his way through the tackle. Off to his big teammate, Rich de Carpentier. Fellow England Sevens players being given the opportunity to be in this professional environment. Tom Bowen. Of course, the ball had that fresh lacquer on it in our opening game of round one a week ago. It was popping out all over the place, but I think the balls have been kicked in a little bit now. So looks like the handling is already a little fresher. It's Ross Neal who looks to come over that 10-metre line. Now it's played away for Northcote Green, and Emery showing a nice little bit of the footwork. And Scott Green is awarding a penalty for not rolling away. So we should say, at this point, players are obviously looking to make the tackle to stop the player advancing, because rugby in all forms is an invasion game. Like basketball or hockey, whether it's a goal, a net, or a line you cross, or a ball you touch down. In rugby, you are passing, running, or kicking to get upfield. And of course, as we know, in the game of rugby, you can only pass backwards. So players have to make the tackle, ideally below the shoulder, ideally below the nipple line, which seems to be the rough bit of guidance. And it is all about playing safely within the laws of the game to be able to stop a team attacking in a defensive term. that players don't wear pads so that they're encouraged to tackle in the right area of the body. And that's why the penalties for any high tackles, that kind of thing, are as harsh as they are.
Just make sure you're coming all the way around back through your gate, mate. Sub.
So we had a penalty for not rolling away, and that is because if you were a player that has made a tackle, the first thing you have to do is roll away to allow the team who've been in possession the opportunity to play that ball. If you're the player that's been tackled, well, the first thing you have to do is place, pass, or roll the ball immediately. So there's a few little starters for you, and we can observe how those things roll out. Great to be joined in commentary by former England Sevens captain Rob Vickerman, and we're doing a bit of Rugby 101 for this game one.
Absolutely, well needed, Nick, and well done to yourself for curating. That's wonderful to see. I actually think one of the big underlying stories of this game, specifically around the laws and interpretations, is just how well Russell Earnshaw, the Miami head coach, has got them defending, because he knows these England Sevens players very, very well, having coached them. And that, for me, is a wonderful underpinning story to this game.
So we come down from the line-out. We'll get to explain a little bit more around the set pieces as the game goes on. That was just a little loose on the floor, but it's now in the hands of the London Royals inside their 22. Now to AJ Davis, couple of tries in round one, but perhaps Tom Bowen on the outside just overran him and was in front of him, unable to be the supporting passing option for AJ Davis there. Back in field it goes. Sean McNulty running forwards. Now it's Ross Neal, players making the tackle. See the player there from Miami Sun then, looking to just try and roll away, but the ball was just nudged forwards. And so that is a knock-on in rugby. If the ball goes forwards off the hand or off the body in a forward motion, it can go backwards and then roll forwards. We know what an oval ball's like, but if it comes forward and is knocked forward, then it is a scrum. It's an opportunity for the other side to have the restart. And you may notice then you have the player who's waiting to put the ball into the scrum. That's the scrum half. And they are allowed to stand on the loose head side, which gives them the advantage of having the ball rolling into their own hooker's striking foot. And the ball is straight out of that one, hooked well. And now they've got a chance to get themselves going down this left-hand side, and it's a decent run, an opportunity for Mark O'Keefe, back into Nick Boyer. Are the Sun going to open the scoring here? Yes, they are. It's Tuamo Aloha in at the corner. Now, you would describe that because it was from a scrum, and then it went into the corner straight off the play that came from the scrum as a score from first phase. Played it away from the scrum, the last stoppage. There weren't too many rucks involved, and the ball was over the line. Brilliant score from the Sun.
Oh, and what energy seen from them. They're absolutely pumped for this. You can see how well they're playing defensively, which I'm sure we'll come on to, just not committing, as Nick said at that breakdown. And look at the sidelines, absolutely enthralled. The noise coming around is fantastic. With no crowds, that's how you really get energy. And now roll up the bonus 5-pointer with this gale of a wind, helping every single bit of pressure they can put this kick through.
Conversion Jeopardy. This is one of our variations in our World 10 series. Doesn't matter where you score the try from now. You get to choose where you're going to take it from. And James Stokes, former London Irishman, has decided that they're going to go for the full 5-pointer. Certainly got plenty of airtime. Has he got the accuracy as well? Oh, it's brilliant from Stokes. And Miami opened the game with 10 points. Let's cross down to Elmer Smith.
I'm pitch side with Stefan Ungerer. Now, Stefan would be right at home in these conditions since he's been playing for the Kings until recently. And Port Elizabeth is a windy place. Something you're probably less familiar with is 10s rugby. How are you feeling about playing your first match?
Yeah, very excited. Obviously, the wind back in PE, we're used to the wind, but a bit of a 10s rugby, different from the 15s. So just very excited to get back on the pitch after a couple of months of no rugby.
Are we going to see you kicking?
Yes, I might have a couple with the wind. Obviously, we just another 5-pointer here with the wind. I think into the wind, or maybe the 1-pointer and take it. But yeah, definitely we'll have a couple opportunities with the wind.
What's the message from your coach today? What's your approach?
Yeah, I think just to get the feel of the boys. A couple of guys played last week. I think a couple of new guys have come in. So just to feel each other out first game, get used to each other, and then just have some fun out there.
And you Kings guys, former Kings guys, all obviously have a lot to play for.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an emotional couple of months. The guys have really come together, and another opportunity to showcase what we're made of. And yeah, just excited to get out there and play some footy with the boys.
Go warm up.
Thank you so much, Elmer.
Back to you guys, Nick.
Thanks, Elmer. London Royals having to recover the ball in their own 22, but they've knocked it forward. So now the referee will play an advantage to the Miami Sun to see if they can make the most of this advantage without needing to stop the game for the scrum. And it is going to be well taken, that advantage. It's the Miami Sun who score with Luca Tani, and they're taking the Royals to the cleaners in the opening few minutes.
Well, they're dominating everything about this game, Nick. It's spectacular to see just how into it they're getting. There is a challenge coming in, though. Reached the Carpentier in the ear of the referee. Let's see what they say.
We have a captain's challenge.
So, in our game of World 10 Series 10s, each team is allowed one captain's challenge, and Richard Carpentier has played his joker, and he's asking referee Scott Green, man experienced from 2 MLR finals, to have a little look. They can go back up to 2 phases.
Scott, can you repeat the question, please?
And
We have a captain's challenge for the pass that was around the 50-metre line.
so we're just looking to see if one of the passes was forwards.
Okay, looking for a forward
second.
pass. Yep, I got you guys.
So let's have a little look at this. It was one of
Stand
those
by,
little offloads down the fringes.
It's further back, I believe, than that. Rob, it's just further back. It's down at the 50-metre, right in front of the screen for the pass.
Yeah, keep going. So, Scott, we're going back further.
So we're just going to go back on our footage and make sure that we've gone back as far as we need to. So this was the possession with the Sun, and it's whether this pass was backwards or forwards. Whoa.
Yeah, it looks like it's travelled towards me.
Difficult to see on the angle from our main camera here.
Can we see that one more time, please, guys?
It's Rob Debney, who is our television match official, who is having a look at it.
Here's the pass coming again, Scott.
Well, as we have a look at this, Nick, one interesting point is Richard Carpentier's reaction. He's got the blue scrum hat on. As soon as this pass is made, he is straight into the assistant referee to ask the question of him as well.
Yeah, you can see him turning the head, can't you?
Rob, that it's gone clearly forward.
So the hands go back, that's part of the question.
Yeah, Scott, I would agree. It does not obviously look forward.
One of the things that rugby wants to make sure it can do so that the referees are in charge of the decision on the field is go with what is clear and obvious.
Scott,
so
I
if they're
agree.
looking for
Try stand, boys.
decisions to stop scoring opportunities, they need to see something that is clear and obvious. And it looks like the officials here have had a conversation, decided that was not a clear and obvious enough forward pass, so the try will stand.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, without going to the laws of physics, most balls in rugby do indeed go forward, but the player stays in front of the ball. So you see it often when that player gets stopped, it looks a lot worse. But I think that's absolutely right. And what discretion that they had. They asked the question, they posed it, and now we're looking at Stokes about to try and nail a second 5-pointer. How exciting is that to say?
Stokes again. Might have just drifted that one to the left, has he? It'll go awry.
Okay, thank you. Bring him on.
Really enjoying the tactics for Miami, though, when they have the ball, of which they've not had a huge amount. They're moving it well, they're getting those offloads going, and most importantly, are defending so incredibly well, making the right decisions at the good times.
So we've talked about the kickoff needing to go the 10 metres. It hangs in the air and will come down in the hands of, well, nobody, frankly. But the Royals are going to try and keep it alive. It's Ben Foden who thinks he's got a little bit of room to chip it down, but it initially came forward off a Miami Sun hand. No advantage, so we come to the scrum. So another chance to see a scrum set piece. And you will notice the scrum half once again standing loose head side, so his own hooker can get the advantage of having the ball rolled into his striking foot. But of course, think about it. If you've got someone who is in the hooking position in the middle of that front row, who is having to lift their foot up to hook the ball, they can't be driving forwards at the same time, which means you've ultimately depowered your scrum by one person to make sure you hook the ball. So that puts the effort on the rest of them to make sure that they're driving, but also it's key, and you will hear the referees make sure that neither front row engages and pushes too early. That ends up being a free kick offence because it's deemed as a team trying to get too much of an advantage before the scrum is underway. Miami Sun, they got the free kick from the penalty, from the scrum, I should say. They're looking to try and keep this alive. Lala Sava, now it's been knocked forwards. Referee with his arm out to signal that there'd be an advantage to the London Royals if they were able to get hold of the ball. The ball wasn't coming immediately, so we will have the scrum.
You can see the physicality of this Miami team. They're just getting hold of Norton, trying to drive him forward. A little bit of indecision from the Royals team, perhaps personnel missing is not helping their causes. But they'll get a chance to see Miami Heat defend once again.
Crouch.
So going to try and draw your attention to the ruck area next, and that is where you have one player over the ball on his feet as a tackle has taken place. So we will look for that moment as Davis comes in and he is tackled. Now players look to try and get involved and get over the ball to try and win it back. You've got to be on your feet.
Ruck clearly formed. Ruck clearly formed. Hands in the ruck.
So the call there from referee Scott Green was that a ruck had formed, but players were putting their hands into the ruck to try and get the ball back. At that stage, you have to be able to secure the ball on your feet, and then the scrum half can come in and play it away. It's another penalty. Royals coming forwards now. Really good strength from AJ Davis, straight down the middle of the park. Jimmy Haley will play it away. De Carpentier spotted that they're queuing up on the outside. It's Dan Norton.
Offside 16.
Going to call him an offside here as Ben Foden plays it away. Emery looking to try and tunnel his way through and over. And the try has been scored. In the act of scoring a try, if you find yourself just a few inches short, you can score by reaching out immediately to get the ball over the line.
Well, I hope people have their notebooks open worldwide, Nick, because you are absolutely putting on a precedence of laws and interpretations. Emery is going to be so pivotal in this game. The man you just saw with a T, Tom Mitchell, not played in this game. And you can see the hot stepper Norton taking 3 defenders out the game. Foden on the inside looking to support, keeps that ball alive, and then take a look at that strength, fleet foot of Emery. He really has got an all-court game when he gets the ball. And then trying to be nice and secure, only willing to add the 1 to this.
It's Zinzan Ilan Patik who will slot the 1-pointer. It takes the Royals up to 6. And at half-time, in our first match of round 2. It is the London Royals 6, the Miami Sun 15. Restart of the second half then of the match, and it's the Sun that look to try and come forwards. Talking about the ruck area, and it really is in that area after a tackle where there's a contest for the ball. The Sun tried to chip that through Van der Merwe, but it wouldn't quite happen. Came straight off Ben Foden. So as the last player to have touched the ball, it'll be a line out now for the Miami Sun. And the line out area, well, here's an area, another restart of the game area, and they can put a minimum of 2 people into a line out, up to the maximum of the whole team if they want to. The defending team has to match the number of players in the line out.
Outside shoulder, not straight. Option scrum.
But it has to be thrown in straight, and as you can hear from our referee,
not straight,
it was not thrown in straight.
Blue scrum.
And so the London Royals will restart with a scrum.
You can see Boyer there, the long hair, not a specialist hooker, very difficult skill, certainly in this wind, to get the ball put it the right way. I guess the way of looking at rugby is there's many, many things that refer to a similar thing as a scrimmage, that competition for the ball, be it line out, scrum or ruck. And that's what these teams are looking to do. You get that edge on competition, you get the ball. Having the ball is king.
Emery gets it in, now he'll play it away. Little pre-planned move off the back of that scrum there, and Ben Foden's done really well to get his way through, but they might be a bit short on support here now. Places the ball back from the ruck scenario, out the back of the tackle. But the little chip through wasn't the tidiest.
Okay, 2 guys on the ground, mate. Blue ball, blue's going forward.
So referee Scott Green deciding there that the ball was a little unplayable due to the number of bodies on the ground. London Royals were deemed in possession and going forward. So it's just a way of tidying up an opportunity to restart, seeing that the ball wasn't coming out.
Oh, that's a lovely little touch from Emery, but well defended like a goalkeeper. Salah got that right hand down, stopped it from crossing the plane. Once you get that ball in behind, very difficult to defend. So good skill set. Expect once again to see a little bit of a specialist play from this Royals team. Haley pulling the strings at fly half, first receiver.
And here we go, Jimmy Haley looking out wide, trying to send Busby away. It's a big shoulder in on the tackle from Van der Merwe, who releases the tackler and then goes back in to try and win the ball.
This is tackle, no clear release. You must come back around the gate.
Referee Scott Green deeming the clear release was not clear enough from Van der Merwe.
Here we are, make marks here.
Oh, perhaps say he's right to be a little bit frustrated there, DTH. Van der Merwe, 4 World Cups, Canada stalwart. He knows the laws. I thought he was spot on there, as he's having a discussion still with the referee. But it's a great hit, wasn't it?
It was. Well, what we're discussing here is the fact that you make the tackle as the tackler, arguably a little bit high, and then you have to release the player before you can then go back in to compete for the ball on the floor. The Royals looking to make the most of it from the line-out, which has now become a maul, called by the referee. It's a contest for the ball on your feet. Oh, and the Royals break away. They didn't spot him. It's Aldo Campbell. Bermuda international, captained them in last year's Caribbean Cup, and he's popped out of that maul and flopped over the line. And the Royals get try number 2.
I think we should just celebrate that. Aldo Campbell, Bermuda captain, playing with these international stars that go around the world. We've come to his backyard and he's bagged a try. How good is that? The driving maul, as you say, so difficult to stop. Miami trying to put the players in but can't guess where the ball is because it's so well hidden. And it's one of the secret weapons of rugby. Aldo Campbell keeping that ball on the left. You're not going to stop a man that big from that close.
Well, of course, with their wind at their backs now, London Royals no longer looking just for a single one-pointer from in front of the sticks. But Tom Emery is ready now to get his driver out and try and smash this from the halfway line.
And that was the tactic. They chose the one-pointer, as they said they would do, to get the edge. If this does go over, which sadly doesn't, he would have that transitional score. So very clever tactics from the Royals to get the 1 point, then the 5 attempted. He's not happy with it, but there's one that will be happy. That is a memory for life. Aldo Campbell, enjoy that moment.
So just waiting for Nick Boyer. Give us our next kick.
Yeah.
Next restart. We saw the maul formed for that try. That's where one attacker with the ball and one defender are on their feet. The referee has to call a maul in order for it to be defined as such. There's the ruck, the competition for the ball on the floor. Northcote Green goes in to try and play this away, and he'll try and attack the fringes where the Miami Sun didn't have any defence.
Side entry there.
So side entry, Rob Bickerman. Tell us about the gate when it comes to these scenarios.
It's another one of these words that we use in rugby parlance without really ever getting a chance to explain, so I'm loving this. As soon as the ball is on the floor, you are contestable in the width of that player lying down. The more narrow that is, the harder it is. If you don't come in from the right position, and you can see this is quite clear now because the player is lying towards his try line. There's a clear defined window. You've got to go through the middle of it. He doesn't, comes in at the side, and quite rightly penalising Lucatini for that effort.
One of the ways it was described to me when I ref trained years ago was if you look at a tackle on the floor and imagine putting up a fence panel on either side, visually in your mind, where you can see when a player crashes through that invisible fence panel coming in from the side. So that's often how the referees will picture it in their minds once the tackle's been made. Satavi. Miami Sun. Just being hassled and harried now, playing into the wind. Speculative pass over on the outside, but might just work out for them. Oh, and they're really getting up ahead of steam on the far side. De Carpentier's had to really work hard to get back defensively. Joey Sock, the man with the scrum cap, is looking to get in and play this away, which he does, in the hands of Larson. Then Van der Merwe with all of his experience, 61 cap Canadian international.
Back.
Larson plays it away now. Looking to try and show a bit of the footwork is to Tuamo Aloha on the score sheet already. Joey getting the call in support. Larson again is everywhere at the minute. Goes into the tackle of Campbell. Campbell thought he might have a chance to compete for that ball. Little ball inside, that was very cutely done to find O'Keefe. Still going O'Keefe, good strength through the tackle. Placed the ball back, but there was no scrum half and the ball was deemed to be out and available. But the ball's been kicked out on the full. So we will come back in line with where it was kicked.
Oh, that's not a good tactic. Any type of turn of a ball for this Royals team should be capitalised on. Putting the ball in this wind on your boot to kick deep is not a good idea. And Elan Patik's just not accurate enough in that kick, and now it is a line out to Miami back in the Royals territory where they just got grade A ball.
So that hard line on the right-hand side that you can see is the 22-metre line. If the London Royals had kicked from inside that straight off the park, then you'd be able to take the line out where the ball went over. But if you kick anywhere from outside that line going forwards, then the ball has to bounce before it goes out. So that's why we've come all the way back, because that kick went straight out on the full, and he was outside his 22.
A chance now for the Royals just to have a bit of a regroup, get together, big forwards talking about it. Miami, for me, are absolutely tactically playing this game to a plum. They're keeping nice and tight. That man with the broken face, Larson, is doing a lot to frustrate the coach of the Royals, John Brake, you can see in shot, and it's about staying nice and tight. They're not looking to play an expansive game, and they're very flat because of it, but their sheer size and physicality, as you'll see at this line-out, they're per man just so much bigger than the Royals, and that can be so hard to stop if it's a slow, sedentary game.
So one of the other things in the line-out, the hooker is throwing the ball in, the other hooker is to be in the 5-metre channel, 2 metres back from the line-out.
It's not straight, gentlemen. Loose scrum.
But again, in this wind, as they try and get the throw in as best they can, it's another one deemed not straight.
And their tactic to try and get around that was to throw it to the front, but even that with this wind was a difficult ask. You have a general feeling in this game that the London Royals can score from anywhere, and now looking at the clock with just 1.5 minutes left, they need that crucial score.
Emery. Ball comes back. Elan Patik plays it away. Now he'll receive it back. Had to go for the netball pass to try and get it away for Tom Bowen. Referee says play on as Royals still have the ball. De Carpentier was just being sized up by Satavu, trying to come forwards, but De Carpentier, brilliant strength from the Englishman. Elan Patik looking for the options. Emery off to the right, dances around the first defender who just does enough to scrag him. The Royals still in possession. Feet again from Patik. 2 make the tackle. They roll away. Bowman gets in. Neal just left the ball behind as he went through the tackle. And the first person to respond is in a Miami Sun shirt. Van der Merwe then away to Boyer. Boyer will chip it ahead. De Carpentier is going back to try and get hold of it.
Ball back.
Competition for the ball is fierce in this last half a minute. The Royals up against it, trailing by 4 with the wind at their backs, but they're in the wrong area of the field. They've got a long way to go.
They've got a couple of players in their team who like to go from these types of positions. Dan Norton, the best try scorer, the most potent on the World 7 Series. You just need half a gap and he'll find it.
Alex Davis has decided to come back from where the ball came and then look to play it away for Bowen. The ball deemed to have gone backwards there, so we play on. Dan Norton tackled. There's the hooter. So they'll keep playing until there's any form of infringement or reason to stop the game. Ross Neal gets going. We don't stop for a penalty. A penalty we will continue to play.
No hands, let it come out. Let it come. Good work, boys.
It's away for Northcote Green, who's kicked it away. And his teammates can't believe the decision. They put their hands on their heads. And Northcote Green acknowledges the mistake that he's made. Oh, what a dramatic conclusion.
Oh, fantastic conclusion from a great game. You don't want to end in negativity, but quite what Northcote Green was thinking there, quite rightly putting his hand up to apologise. He is devastated. Those moments can define tournaments, and you've got to have composure. That pressure that comes on really affected him, but this is a story all about Miami. They've been training all week. They've got that camaraderie. They're an invitational team who are quite simply a pleasure to watch.
Well, London Royals, they only lost one game in round one, but they've started round two on the wrong side of the score sheet. It's Miami Sun who are victorious to start the day. The final score, London Royals 11, the Miami Sun 15, and we hope with a couple of explainers we've brought you a little closer to understanding our wonderful game.